Hey everyone, today I want to show you how to view STIGs and CIS benchmarks that we previously downloaded. So we'll start with the easy one first. So as I said previously, CIS benchmarks come in PDF format. So this does have a clickable set of contents. So you can just click on whatever check you want to look at and it'll send you straight there. The format here is fairly simple. It starts off with a number, the level, and then a human readable title, and ends with the word automated or manual. The difference there being automated, there's an automated way to implement and check for the particular benchmark. Manual means that you need to review policy, procedure, talk to somebody. It's a manual process. You can't just do it with an automated tool. Speaking of L1, so CIS breaks out their benchmarks into two different levels, L1 and L2. L2 being the more stringent set of benchmarks. Both L1 and L2 are used at the same time in order to ensure, full implementation of hardening. The rest of the check starts off with a description, tells you what's going on with this check. The rationale for why this check should be implemented, the impact of not implementing the check, how to audit or review the check for implementation, and then how to remediate or implement the check itself. Additionally, they provide references to more information about this particular check, and then provides correlation to CIS's controls. So that's CIS, fairly simple. However, again, the default view is in PDF. And in this particular case, it is 1,100 pages. So it can be kind of onerous to review everything and implement it. The next thing I want to show you is STIGs. So let me go ahead and extract all of these files. And we will start off with the Windows Server 2022 STIG. So within the zip file itself, you'll see PDFs and a folder, starting with the README PDF. This is included in most of the zip files, and it just provides you the structure of what's included. So each zip should have an overview or addendum PDF. It'll have a folder, as I mentioned earlier. There'll be a supplemental PDF, configuration table, and then a revision history. Within the manual folder itself, you'll see XML, XSL, and JPG files. Just going to the overview file, which does not want to open right now. We'll come back to that. We'll go to the manual STIG itself. So again, you'll see three different files in here. You'll see the XML, you'll see the JPG, and the XSL. So you'll right-click the XML file, and you will open with Microsoft Edge. So when you open it, by default, it's not viewable. It's in a white screen. So you'll have to go to the menu and reload in Internet Explorer mode. If you do not have that option available, it means that your Edge installation has been hardened to some form or fashion. So either you need to turn on the Internet Explorer mode, or you need to view this on a non-secured computer and convert this to HTML or .docx or PDF in order to view the contents. So STIGs are formatted in a similar fashion to CIS. So you have a series of unique identifiers here, the most unique being the STIG ID or the VID. STIG ID is always going to be in a 4-character -2 number or character -6 number format. The beginning will tell you what STIG this is coming from. So in this case, WN is Windows, 22 is the server version. And then the middle 2 characters or digits will tell you if it's an operating system, domain controller, member server, or just generic type of check, with the number being unique across the board. The VID is also unique. However, it's not as easy to decipher just by looking at it. So I recommend looking at the STIG ID. I do want to call out that the severity is listed here as well. So STIG severities are Cat 1, Cat 2, or Cat 3. Cat 1 is equal to high, Cat 3 is equal to low, and Cat 2 is equal to medium. All this means is Cat 1 should be implemented first, and Cat 3 should be implemented last. However, Cat 2 is the largest subset of checks contained within STIGs. So keep that in mind. There is a lot of work for these. The next piece is the rule title. This is a human readable snippet of what this check is about. Then there's the vulnerability discussion that tells you why this check is recommended for implementation. The next section is check content. This is a mixture of manual items, and it is also some automated features depending on what kind of check is being talked about here. And then finally, there's a fixed text, which tells you how to implement this particular check per DISA's guidance. And then at the very end is a set of references. In this case, it only shows you the CCI, which is DISA's unique identifiers at the very top level. It includes correlations to NIST 853 STIGs and other high-level DoD requirements. It's basically their ultimate crosswalk between everything cybersecurity. And then to show you some automation versus not. So in this case, the check content includes using PowerShell, or you can go to GPO. So if there's a GPO navigation here, that means you can automate it by implementing a GPO. While PowerShell can check a lot of these, you cannot always implement through PowerShell. So for each of these checks, they should be reviewed to see if they're automated or manual, and then implemented as needed. See if this overview file works now. So let's open that. It does now. So this overview file, the most important piece here is the executive summary. It tells you what this STIG should be targeted against. In this case, it's Microsoft Server 2022, so it's fairly easy to decipher where this needs to be targeted. However, as I downloaded some others earlier, let's go to Switch. So this is Cisco iOS Switch. And as you can see, there's 3 separate folders. So there's 3 separate quote unquote sub STIGs for the Cisco iOS Switch. So we'll go to the overview, go to the executive summary, and you'll see that there's 3 manuals and it'll tell you what they're about. So there's a switch L2S or layer 2 switch. There's a switch router, and then there's a switch network device management STIG. These are all based off of different SRGs. So the settings are different for each one of these 3 STIGs. So the thing to note here is if you are using Cisco iOS devices, you need to ensure that you are applying the correct STIG to the correct portion of your Cisco iOS infrastructure. So keep that in mind when reviewing these switches, or these STIGs. And if we go to VMware, you'll see that the vSphere STIG, one file, included 13 different sub-STIGs. So what this means is the way DISA broke it out was you might have a VMware infrastructure. However, there's several different STIGs and settings that need to be applied. Not all of them. It is all determined on your implementation of VMware. So just something to note. Some of these STIGs have multiple subfiles and subsettings that also need to be reviewed and implemented. All right, so that is manually viewing STIGs and manually viewing a CIS benchmark.